is where we will begin with her.
Great. Look forward to hearing it.
Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, Lawrence.
Well, some of the best, most poignant speeches in American politics have been given by losing candidates on election night or when they drop out of the race. Democratic Senator Bob Kerry's speech dropping out of the presidential race in 1992 was a beautiful and moving speech. Many people there thought it was actually the best speech of his campaign. Look it up if you can. Senator John McCain's heartfelt concession speech on election night in 2008 is one of the classics of the genre, striking all the right notes of thanks and disappointment and generous congratulations to the winner, President-elect Barack Obama. And again, many observers thought it was the best speech of John McCain's campaign. And so I would love to be reporting to you tonight that Graham Platner looked within himself and, in his own words, from the heart, delivered the best speech of his campaign. But that's not what happened tonight. Instead, Graham Platner lied his way out of the Senate race in Maine tonight. He issued an 11-minute online video statement recorded today full of self-pity, completely absent of any word of apology to anyone, and blaming everyone he could think of for the collapse of his campaign except himself. He began by saying that everything we have heard and read from women who accuse him of sexual abuse is a lie.
Hey everyone, it's Graham Platner here. I think as many of you know, over the past couple days, I have faced some very serious allegations, and I just want to make it clear, this is all false. The things that have been claimed did not happen. It's not real.
It then seemed that he was going to tell the story of how his political campaign began.
Amy and I are regular people. We were not looking for this experience. We were not looking to get into politics. We had no desire to run for office.
But that was the end of the story of how he decided to become a candidate. He didn't tell that story. He left out the fact that he was recruited to run for Senate in the state of Maine by a 27-year-old political consultant who has lived his entire life in New York City, having been born and raised in one of the most expensive neighborhoods in Manhattan. That consultant, Morris Katz, described the recruitment of this candidate this way. Within a few minutes of talking to him, I was like, this guy owes it to the country to run for Senate, Katz recalled of his first meeting with Platner. That will take its place as the stupidest line about American politics said by anyone on the Democratic side of campaigning in this campaign season. Graham Platner complained about a corporate media system and the political establishment conspiring against him. Much of the corporate media he is complaining about delivered admiring coverage of his campaign to the entire country, thereby helping him raise money all over the country. The New York Times, no doubt, is part of what Graham Platner considers the corporate media, and it was the New York Times that did due diligence on Graham Platner and reported to its readers that he was born a rich kid in a family of intergenerational wealth with a rich, famous architect as his grandfather and a rich lawyer as his father, and that his mother, who owns a restaurant in Maine, buys most or all of the oysters that he harvests, and his father, in effect, bought him a house, providing him with a $200,000 mortgage for a house that sold for $205,000. There is no way of tracking just how much of a struggle Graham Platner has in staying up to date in making mortgage payments to his father. The image Graham Platner tried to create nationally was just of a hardworking guy struggling with the mortgage payments, struggling with all of the economic pressures that people who just are living paycheck to paycheck have to struggle with. It was never true. There was only one victim in Graham Platner's statement tonight, and that was, of course, Graham Platner.
We live in a political system that is not built for normal people. It is a system that is built structurally to make sure that movements like ours cannot flourish. That if they begin to succeed, they can be crushed.
Tell that to this guy. The only winning political campaign which Morris Katz has played a significant role in was last year's mayoral election in New York City, where he served as Zohran Mamdani's top strategist. And no one crushed that mayoral campaign. And Zohran Mamdani's political influence has only grown since he won the mayor's election. Graham Platner said that this didn't happen to him because of horrible things he had written in old social media posts, which he never denied, or because he had a Nazi tattoo, which he claimed he had no idea was a Nazi tattoo. So, like, no discussion at all with the tattoo artist about what that was going on his chest. And of course, it wasn't happening, he said tonight, by omission, because of women he knew and dated who accused him of sexual abuse and violence. That had nothing to do with what was happening to him, in Graham Platner's view. In the Graham Platner lying version of where he is tonight, none of those things or people, none of the words from any of those women in any way brought him down. Instead, it was some dark, large force.
Large forces were working against you personally to accuse you of the worst thing that a person could do, and it was not remotely true.
Large forces. Okay. Here's what Zohran Mamdani, whose political movement has not been crushed, said yesterday about Graham Platner.
I believe that it's time for him to drop out of the race.